Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janaballabha Girivardhari Gopi Janaballabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Varukacharista Sishimat, His Divine Grace, Srila Asa Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Varukacharista Sishimat, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod Ki Jai. Sri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sadhu Sangha ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshuron Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, thank you all for coming to class. Today, very wonderful chapter and wonderful verses. Of course, the Bhagavatam is, Prabhupada used to translate Srimad Bhagavatam as the beautiful story of the personality of Godhead. So, this chapter is Krishna and the Gopis meet in Vrindavan, just down by the bank. So today's verses are 31 and 32 of that chapter 29 of the 10th canto. Now today also we're going to discuss the Leela of Jayadeva Goswami. So because these are long verses, I'll just say the Sanskrit, then the English, then you'll repeat the English, and we'll do that for the second verse, and we'll read the purport. That way we'll save 20 minutes or so. So, text 31, Sanskrit. Sri Gopya Uchu Mavam Biborati Bhavan Gaditum Nrisham Sham Sanjach Ya Sarva Vishwans Tava Padamulam Bhakcha Bhajyasya Dhruva Bharagaha Ma Tajyasman Devo Yatadi Purusho Bhajate Mimukshum. So I'll repeat the English, then we'll do it together. The beautiful gopis said, "O all-powerful one, you should not speak in this cruel way. Do not reject us, who have renounced all material enjoyment to render devotional service to your lotus feet. Reciprocate with us, O stubborn one, just as the primeval Lord, Sri Narayan, reciprocates with his devotees in their endeavors for liberation." Please repeat. The beautiful gopis said, "O all-powerful one, you should not speak in this cruel way. Do not reject us, who have renounced all material enjoyment to render devotional service to your lotus feet. Reciprocate with us, O stubborn one, just as the primeval Lord, Sri Narayan, reciprocates with his devotees in their endeavors for liberation." So, text number 32, Sanskrit. Yat patya apatya shuridam anuvrite anga. Srinam swadharma iti dharma vidha taktvoyoktam. As etam etad upashesha pada tvayishe. Preshto bhavam stanumbritam kila bandhu atma. Oh, dear Krishna, as an expert in religion, you have advised us that the proper religious duty for a woman is to faithfully serve their husbands, children, and other relatives. We agree that this principle is valid, but actually this service should be rendered to you. After all, O Lord, you are the dearmost friend of all embodied souls. You are their most intimate relative, and indeed their very self. So, please repeat. Our dear Krishna, as an expert in religion, you have, you have advised us that the proper religious duty for women is to faithfully serve their husbands, children, and other relatives. We agree that this principle is valid. But actually this service should be rendered to you. After all, O Lord, you are the dearmost friend of all embodied souls. You are their most intimate relative, and indeed their very self. So, purport, the devout disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Sri Krishna is the soul of all souls, their dearmost friend and well-wisher. As stated in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, 11.5.41, Devashi bhutatman ridam pradinam yat kinkaro nayam rinam cha rajan sarvatma manaya sharinam sharanam yam gato mukundam parihritya kartum. O King, one who has given up all material desires and has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities confirmed. Since all classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered unto the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. Authority descends from the author of all existence. That's the end of the translation, separately. There's no need to serve such persons separately. So then the purport continues. Authority descends from the author of all existence, the Supreme Lord. Natural figures of authority, such as husbands, mothers, government leaders, and sages, gain their power and authority from the Supreme Lord and should not represent the absolute truth to those who follow them. Oh, and should represent. If one wholeheartedly engages in loving service to the original supreme truth, one need not indirectly serve the absolute truth through the above-mentioned secondary authorities. Even a soul surrendered to God, however, continues to serve the spiritual master, who is a direct, not an indirect representative of the Supreme Lord. A bona fide acharya or spiritual master is the transcendental medium leading the disciple to the lotus feet of Krishna. All indirect authorities become obsolete when one is directly in touch with the absolute truth. The gopis wanted to explain this basic point to Krishna, and some of the bolder young girls among them attempted to defeat Krishna with his own statements, as exemplified in this verse. Mukam karochi vachalam pangam laite girim ya kripa tamaham bande Sri Guru Dinatarinam. So, 31. The beautiful gopis said, O powerful one, you should not speak in this cruel way. Do not reject us, who have renounced all material enjoyment to render devotional service to your lotus feet. Reciprocate with us, O stubborn one. Just as the primeval Lord, Sri Narayan, reciprocates with his devotees in their endeavors for liberation. Oh dear Krishna, as an expert in religion, you have advised us that the proper religious duty for women is to faithfully serve their husbands, children, and other relatives. We agree that this principle is valid, but actually, this service should be rendered unto you. After all, O Lord, you are the dearmost friend of all embodied souls. You are their most intimate relative, and indeed their very self. Yes, so one of Krishna's names is Atma Atma. He is the soul of the soul. Within this material body, we have the consciousness, the manas. It's contained within the mind. And then the soul is emanating the consciousness. But the consciousness, the soul, is resting upon the Supreme Lord. In the 7th chapter of the Gita, it is said, Matak parakam nyanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya sut maya titam idam proktam sutrimani gida iva. There is no truth superior to me, Krishna says. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung upon a thread. So sometimes in the primitive tribal religions, they consider the Supreme Lord is in his abode, and this material world of birth, death, and suffering is the abode of the devil. But actually, the Supreme Lord's abode is everywhere. And this is just as much his kingdom as the spiritual world. So there is no separation. And everything rests upon the Supreme Lord. In the 9th chapter, Krishna says, Avyukta Murtina, by me in my unmanifest form, this whole universe is referring to Arjuna. Look at this universe. I'm manifest in every part of this universe, but I'm only manifest to my devotees. I'm unmanifest to those that want to maintain the idea of independence. This is the root of the material conditioning. We enter into Maya because we want to be independent of the all-pervasive Lord, who is everywhere, who is controlling everything. Everything is resting upon his potency, and we want to have the illusion of independence. Surrender means, Krishna, I am not independent. I depend on you. Once the soul comes to that conclusion, somehow or other, sadhu sangha, serving the shastra, previous impressions, like Bibhishan, he surrendered to Ram before the big battle in Sri Lanka. He came to Krishna and said, Ram, I can't bear what Ravana is doing to your wife. This is terrible. I cannot stay as his accomplice. I surrender unto you. Then immediately Ramchandra accepted him. So here is another example of that principle. That the gopis, they are the topmost surrendered souls. They know nothing but Krishna. And they are showing here that they are also the greatest spiritual masters. Krishna has called them with the flute. Come, let's enjoy Ras Leela. Let's enjoy serving one another in the beautiful moonlight on the bank of the Jamuna. So hearing the flute song of Krishna, and the Acharyas have explained that the flute song of Krishna is still present in this world. It is present as the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The flute song attracted the gopis. The Maha Mantra attracts all souls to the service of Krishna. But the special quality of the Maha Mantra is it's imbued with Nityananda Shakti, Guru Shakti. So it is even more merciful. Guru is even more merciful than the Supreme Lord. So if one takes to the chanting of Hare Krishna, then all mercy, all realization is there. But the mantra becomes more potent. Of course, one should understand the siddhanta of the mantra. So the mantra means, please engage me in your service. So when we chant Hare Krishna, just like the gopis exemplify here, we should be calling Siddhivilas for perfection. We are giving up material enjoyment. I don't want material desire. I don't want entanglement in this world. But desire is your best friend. The problem is, in the material world, we're desiring to control and enjoy Maya. But we should use our desire to desire transcendental service to Krishna and Krishna's devotees. It is not that we restrain desire, it's that we redirect it. Desire is the nature of the soul. Krishna, at the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, is explained there that the absolute truth is one, but in order to enjoy the bliss of pastimes, Radha and Krishna have separated themselves eternally. So they are enjoying the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of rasa. They want to experience that, and so do we. But we are mistakenly trying to control and enjoy the Maya Shakti, which is dull and full of karmic reactions, gives no bliss, only gives anxiety, and compels us to take birth again and again through cause and effect. So desire should be, just like we sing Tulsi Puja, right? Oh, my desire is that you will give me the qualification to enter into the Leela. And then we sing Krishna say Tumara, Krishna dite paro, Amitu Kangala daita. Oh, Vaishnav Thakur, you are the possessor of Krishna by your bhakti. Please give Krishna to me. I'm crying for that. So Prabhupada used to quote, he still does eternally, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, we are opening a crying school. We are crying for Krishna. I went to Sadananda Kunj, the place of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and I was told that's on the bank of the Saraswati there in Navadvip. And in the morning, his neighbors, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, they would hear Bhakti Vinod Thakur in the garden walking, shouting the Maha Mantra at the top of his voice. He was calling. He wasn't reciting like a parrot. He was putting his bhava into it. So by chanting with desire to enter and serve Krishna and Krishna's devotees, then Krishna Prem will blossom. So here the gopis are saying, reciprocate with us. Krishna, we have left everything. We heard your flute, we've come here, and now you're saying, oh, you gopis, why, go back. Go back to your family. This is dangerous. There are lions, tigers, and God knows what in the forest. And you're just simple girls. Of course, they're jungle girls. They're not scared of anything. You have duty to your mother, father, your husbands, your babies. So why are you coming here? The duty of a woman is to serve her husband. The gopis say, no. Krishna. You can, as it says in the purport, the bold gopis, they answer back. Krishna is the great spiritual master. So in this book, this is the translation of Sarat Darshini of Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary on the whole of the Bhagavatam. So I was reading up this section. There are long purports. And it's explained there that Krishna is the supreme spiritual master, as the Gopis says. And he's saying, go back. Why? He's increasing their separation. And so Vishwanath explains that when the devotee feels separation, he gets more intense meditation upon the Supreme Lord, and he gets more realization. And this separation, here the gopis exemplify this. It's devoid of Aishwarya Bhav. Even though, look, Narayan gives liberation. He reciprocates. Why aren't you reciprocating with us? That's also the 17th verse in the Ishopanishad. After Hiranmaya Matrena, the devotee says, oh, let this body and the prana go into their elements. But now, Lord, remember what I've done for you. I'm leaving this body. You please pick me up. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram. You please pick me up. He's expressing desire that I will become like an atom of dust in your Leela. So this is what we have to cultivate in the heart. And the gopis are exemplifying it. They're the greatest devotees. And they are chastising Krishna. There's no Aishwarya Bhav. Oh, Krishna is maintaining everything, the unlimited universe. They're saying, you reciprocate with us. We've given everything to you. You say in the Bhagavad Gita, ye tam mam prapadyante, and now you're telling us go back to the husbands? And so Vishwanath explains this very nicely. That just like in the Uddhava Gita, chapter 29 of 11th canto, Krishna tells Uddhava, I want you to go to Paramahamsa level. So you should pay obeisances to the dogs, hogs, and you should see the Supreme Lord residing within the heart of all living entities. And then you will become free of matsarya, envy. You'll lose this sense of separation and designating up, down, and this and that in the material world. And you'll see the Supreme Lord everywhere and become engrossed in His thought and reach bhava and prem in this way. So it is correct. This is what is in the purport of Vishwanath. He says, yes, actually the woman and should serve the husband, should serve the Paramatma within the husband. She should serve the husband, but she should also see that within the husband is the Paramatma. And that by serving her husband and her children and so on and so forth, her position is really to serve the Supreme Lord. But that is indirect, as is nicely pointed out in this purport, because the husband is there, Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, so on and so forth. But actually, the gopis are saying, yes, that's good. It's a very nice principle. The wife should serve the husband, just like the Supreme Lord. But now you're directly in front of us. We don't need this secondary principle of serving the husband. You are here now. You are Atma, Atma Tridam. So why are you telling us to go back to serve husbands when you, the ultimate source of everything, you are the absolute truth? Actually everything, Krishna is the only absolute. You are the only absolute, and you are our relative. We are Mavai Vangsa Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are your Angsa. You are our relative. You are the soul of the soul. We are resting upon you, so why should we indirectly serve you through our husbands? Now we want the chance to serve you directly in the Ras Leela and hear your flute playing and delight you with our singing and dancing and our company. So this is, as it says here, the bold gopis. We can almost hear Lalita Shaki chastising Krishna. Oh, cruel one, you this. You treat Radharani properly or else. So this is no Aishwarya. But the sense of separation, Krishna is the ultimate spiritual master. He is bringing the sadhana siddhi devotees that are mixed with the nitya siddha devotees, to more perfection, more understanding. These are the nitya sadhana devotees chastising Krishna, and the sadhana siddhi devotees, they're like, this is confusing, and they look very unhappy. But the sadhana siddhis are showing that, yes, you are a big spiritual master, Krishna, but we don't think that we're just village girls that only know how to milk a cow. We are the greatest sages. Why? Because we have prem bhav, because we are fixed upon you, and we draw all realization upon you. And we have nowhere else to go than you. And you tell us to go somewhere else when we are here by the bunk in the beautiful moon. The flutes are here, the musical instruments are there, the demigods are assembling, they're going to shower flowers, and you say go back. So this is, Rupa Goswami Prabhupada quotes the loving affairs between lover and beloved and lover are just like, they're like a fish, so they don't go directly. So this should be understood through bhava. This is ultimately the exchange of prem between Krishna and his devotees, and Krishna is provoking the gopis and increasing their love, and the gopis are loving to be teased by Krishna, and this is the preparation. This is putting fire into the Leela, so they will dance with ecstasy. So we can read these purports, they're very wonderful, and gain insight into this. This is the apex of the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam goes through all the cantos, but the smiling face of Krishna is the 10th canto. The first canto is the feet, and so on. So the Bhagavatam, Amalaparan, is a rasa shastra. It is an exposition of rasa between the devotee and Krishna, and it coming to the apex here in the rasa leela. So the gopis, they are not going to be refused. They are. It is also explained many times, Lalita Madhava, Vidogda Madhava, that Krishna is simply the plaything of the gopis. He is made to dance by the gopis' devotion. So this is the fact that yes, we surrender to Krishna through prem. Oh, Krishna, I belong to you. But then Krishna reciprocates. I have nothing else to give you, so I give myself. This is his statement to the gopis. Ye tam mam prapan. You give yourself to me, and I will give myself to you. But you have to make the frame, because Krishna is unlimitedly humble. He doesn't impose himself. Lord Chaitanya has broke open the storehouse of love of God. He's tasted the fruit. He wants to distribute. But he's standing and saying, who will take? So we have to desire prem. And from that desire, everything will be arranged. Because Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadakabanai Shravanadi Sudachitte Karidai Udai. It's there within the heart. And it just has to be awakened by our desire. Krishna will reciprocate. So don't think that you have to know Sanskrit, or you have to do all this or that, or some big austerity. No, you just have to desire, and everything will come by Krishna. Krishna is the unlimited Lord. What is that verse? Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Yoda Dadati Kama. He fulfills the desires of everyone, whether it's material or spiritual. That is his promise. He reciprocates. If you chant Hare Krishna, if you perform Ekadashi Vrat, if you study the lives of the great acharyas, then Krishna will reciprocate. Samaham sarvabhuteshu. I'm equal to everyone. I reciprocate nicely. There's that verse in the Brahma Samhita, Yastvindra Gopama Kavendra Mahosva Karma, that Krishna, he gives minutely the result of all material activities. But the devotees who are imbued with devotion, he burns up their karma and brings them to prem. So we should feel confident. Rupa Goswami says we should be confident, we should be patient, but we should be confident. Yes, Krishna will take me. Balaram will take me to the highest bhava. And this is what he's exemplifying. This is one aspect here. That he is bringing the gopis, the sadhana siddha bhakti, the nitya siddha, increasing. Because the Supreme Lord is unlimited. The ocean of ecstasy is unlimited. We are used to this limited plane. But if we meditate upon the Supreme Lord as unlimited, as the source of everything, then our consciousness expands. And as we say before, in the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, to enjoy the bliss of pastimes, Krishna has expanded himself, Radha and Krishna. So what does that mean? That means that the whole creation, material and spiritual, Durgadam, Maheshdam, Haridam, Goloka, it is also, and us individually, we are all servants of that principle, the exchange of love between Radha and Krishna. We are made as servants of that. Radha and Krishna express it. It's called Prem Bhavata in the discussion between Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya. So it is the fluctuations, the interchange, the sparkling jewel of love between Radha and Krishna. We are the servants of that. We are meant to serve that in our own particular capacity. So we meditate. That is the highest meditation. Yes, everything is Krishna, but Lord Chaitanya, through 6 Goswamis particularly, he said meditate on the Leela between Radha and Krishna. So you may say, what is the position of Lord Chaitanya then? We are worshipping. Well, we are in the Sangha of Lord Chaitanya. Prabhupada is our family leader, and we are within the Sangha of Lord Chaitanya, and within that Sangha, we are spreading the Sankirtan movement, but we are meditating upon the Leela of Krishna. In this way, our part in Chaitanya Leela and Krishna Leela develops. Harmoniously. So this is very important to understand this. So, we could go on, but today is the disappearance day of Srila Jayadeva Goswami. And he is a peerless devotee. So I have a very wonderful book here. It has about 300 birth activities and qualities of great Vaishnavas. And guess what number 1 is? Jayadeva Goswami. So I extracted some of the information from the copious and elaborate discussion therein. So we relate some of the pastimes. It explains in the text here that actually Jayadeva Goswami, his life was full of amazing, wonderful things, wonderful events. For instance, one time he married a lady, Padmavati. The parents of Padmavati, they went to Jagannath and they said, find a good husband. We want to marry your Padmavati to you. You find a good husband for her. So then Lord Jagannath came to them and said, take her to Jayadeva Goswami. Jayadeva Goswami, he was nearby in Puri. initially he was born in the 11th, 12th century of the Shaka era, and there's a little discussion. So this is about 400 or 500 years before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. He was born maybe Ketu Bilya, district Burdam. Some say Orissa, some say South India, but he was born, the general consensus is, near the Ajay River. And initially he would do worship of Radha and Krishna. His deities are Radha Madhav. The shell of that temple is at Keshi. It was built there by a merchant for Jayadeva Goswami. The deities are now in near Radha Govinda temple in Jaipur. So he used to worship at the temple Lord Shiva at Kuleshwar on the banks of the Ajay River, which is near to Ketu Bilya in the district of Birdam. So his father was Bojidev and his mother Damana Prabhu. And he was a great Sanskrit Pandit, and he rose to become the court poet of the local king, King Lakshmana Sen of Bengal, whose chief scholar was Govardhanacharya. So Jayadeva was a Kavi, he was a great poet. He wrote, you know we sing every day, right? Tavakara Kamalava Rena Kama Bhuta Singam. So that is from the Dasavatar Stotra. There is for the Dasavatar, there is a verse. We are singing the verse to Lord Nrsingadev, but that was composed by Jayadeva Goswami. And Prabhupada sings it on a bhajan very beautifully. So the king heard parts of Gita Govinda and the Dasavastar Sutra, and he went to Govardhanacharya, who was the big acharya. Like at this point, Jayadeva was, just a scholar in the temple. He said, "That's wonderful." And Govardhanacharya, a proper Vaishnava, he said, No, this is the composition of Jayadeva Goswami. So the king, he was a great devotee, Lakshmana Sen, he went secretly to Jayadeva Goswami, incognito. He didn't go with his big retinue. He was a bit like Maharaj Prataparudra, went to Lord Chaitanya, not as a king. So, the king said to Jayadeva, "This is wonderful. Why don't you come and live in the palace?" Jayadeva said, "No, I don't want to do that. Live in the palace? Oh, terrible." He didn't say exactly that, but he said, "No, I want to, I would prefer to live in Jagannath Puri. But this is Bengal." So the king said, "Please don't go there. Please stay. I'll build a cottage for you nearby in this village, Champakhati, which was a famous place because a great sage had had visions of Lord Chaitanya there. I want to live." So the king persuaded Jayadeva, very soft-hearted Vaishnav, "Yes, I'll stay there in a cottage." And in the village, Jayadeva had a vision, it is recorded. Yes, the previous devotee that had had a vision of Lord Chaitanya, his name was Divya Baninath. That was in Satya Yuga, it was recorded. And he had seen Lord Chaitanya. And Jayadeva also had a vision of Radha Govinda and Radha Madhav. His deities eventually were called Radha Madhav. And in that vision, he saw Radha and Govinda and Radha Madhava combining into a champatak flower, like a golden form. And he had the vision of Lord Chaitanya. So then he was very happy to stay in that region. So, eventually he stayed there and had many leelas, and he was living a renounced life, single. He didn't want a wife or anything like that. He was composing, and he composed the Gita Govinda. And this Gita Govinda particularly portrays Radharani's mood of separation. And as you know, Vipralamba Seva Bhav is taught by Lord Chaitanya, service in a sense of separation, not in some vogue connection. So it was praised throughout, and the king would listen to it and enjoy the mellow, and Jayadeva was being accepted, but of course he was always the humble Vaishnav. I'm able to compose because of the vision I had of Lord Chaitanya. And then in Jagannath Puri, the completion of Gita Govinda was there. It is also known as the Song of Separation, the Astapadi. So, eventually he moved to Jagannath Puri. And there he continued his bhajan. And the king of Orissa, he became the court poet of king of Orissa, but still living in humble cottage circumstances. But then Lord Jagannath ordered Jayadeva to marry Padmavati. As I said earlier, the Padmavati was a very beautiful lady. The parents were great devotees. They offered to Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath told the parents, take her to Jayadeva, the great poet. And then Jayadeva said, they took the beautiful girl to Jayadeva. Jayadeva was there, the great renounced, writing great poetry, absorbed in Krishna Prem. I said, I don't want to get married. So the parents said, look, this is the order of Lord Jagannath, and here is the girl, and we're going. So Jayadeva said, okay, we'll marry. Soft-hearted Vaishnava. It's the order of Lord Jagannath. And she became his great support and a great wife and support like that. And she fell down at the feet of Jayadeva and said, look, I'll just stay here and fast to death if you don't marry me. That was her response. So everybody knows the tears of a woman, they're the most powerful thing upon a man. If a woman cries, the man, I will obey. So they married. But of course, she was a great companion and assistant. And it's very interesting that in today's verse, it's explaining that the woman is the great supporter of the husband. So there's a story that one time Jayadeva, he was at Jagannath Puri, and he would take bath in the ocean. And one time he was composing a poem through his visionary ability, and in that poem he was having trouble because in the vision Krishna was throwing himself at the feet of Radharani and praying for her forgiveness. This is Leela. So Jayadeva hesitated. He wrote the first part of the sloka. He hesitated to complete it because he didn't want to say Krishna is, throwing himself. Maybe this. So he went to take bath. And then just a few minutes in the ocean, with 10, 15, 20 minutes, he left with this problem in his mind, and then just a couple of minutes later, Jayadeva appeared, came to the cottage, and Padmavati said, "You've come very quickly, from your bath." And Jayadeva, it was Krishna, it was Lord Jagannath. He said, "Oh, well, actually, I just want to write down, I want to complete this sloka." about Krishna falling at the feet of Radharani. I want to complete this sloka while it's still in my mind. Then I'm going to go and have my bath. So Padmavati said, yes, my lord, here you are. And he completed the sloka. So then, after some time, and then he went. Padmavati thought, oh, he's dedicated to his compositions. So Padmavati thought, then Jayadeva came back, and he looked. I only wrote half the sloka and it's completed. Padmavati, what happened? He said, well, you came back and completed it yourself. And Jayadeva could understand this was Krishna. He was writing down that I threw myself at the lotus feet of Radharani. So this is actually a sloka composed half by Jayadeva and Sri Krishna. He could understand. And he turned to Padmavati and he said, just like a Yamuna Acharya, Krishna Balaram came and gave things to her. He said to Padmavati, you're so fortunate. You're having darshan of Krishna. Krishna is not appearing to me, he's appearing to you. So the service of a great Vaishnava by the wife, that is access to Krishna. That should not be forgotten. Just like the gopis here. Krishna is the real object. Krishna is the only absolute. So then they were, of course, in ecstatic emotion, understanding the mercy of Krishna. And Jayadeva was understanding Krishna is so clever. So, yes, and there's also another story about a gardener's daughter. There were gardens in Jagannath Puri. Maharaj Pataruta met Lord Chaitanya there. And there was the gardener's daughter, and she was a great devotee, and she had a beautiful voice, like Jayadeva. And she used to sing Gita Govinda when she was picking the flowers that were going to Jagannath for garlands. So one day, the pujaris, they saw Jagannath, and he was covered with dust. They were putting him to sleep, but then when they opened the deity, his cloth was covered with dust. So what's going on? The pujari had a vision that Jagannath was going in the morning, very early, to hear this little gardener's daughter singing Gita Govinda. And he was helping her in the garden, picking the flowers. And they went to the gardener's daughter, said, yes, sometimes this happens. Somebody comes, sits there quietly. I'm busy, I don't mind. He seems like a nice gentleman. But this was Lord Jagannath. So then the pujari said, look, we can't do this. Jagannath's nice clothes are getting all dirty and muddy from the garden. So you must come to the temple every day and sing Gita Govinda for Lord Jagannath. So this is the Leela of Krishna and his devotees, his pure devotees. So of course the gardener's daughter did that. She came and she sang every day. And this started a tradition of Devi Dasis in the pure form, where these beautiful Kumaris would come, they would dance, they would sing Gita Govinda. And if you remember in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, one time Lord Chaitanya heard beautiful singing in the Jagannath Puri temple, and he was rushing, I want to hear that. And Govinda said, where are you going? Where are you going? Oh, I hear this beautiful chanting in the temple. He said, no, that's the chanting of ladies. You're a sannyasi, you shouldn't... okay. So that was the singing of Gita Govinda, and Lord Chaitanya, he heard that beautiful sound, he wanted to hear. So the Devdasis, they're famous for their beauty, but they're only to be enjoyed by Lord Jagannath. Then there's another story. He was living in the cottage. Oh, Mahaprabhu, he resided 12 years in Jagannath Puri, and he would always hear Gita Govinda. He would hear the Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit, and he would hear the poems of Chandidas, Vidyapati, and of course the plays of Ramananda Roy. And he would enter into Radharani's mood of separation. We're talking about separation, giving the greatest ecstasy and realization of Krishna. That is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita 1:13, 41 to 42. So there's also another Leela of Jayadeva Goswami. So he one day in the sun, he was fixing the roof. You know, bundles of straw on the roof. And it was the hot day sun. So it was a little difficult. But then somebody started passing him on the rope bundles of straw and everything. Initially he was doing the work by himself, but then he was pulling the straw, and the work became fixed very fast. And then he got down and he said, "Padmavati, thank you so much for passing up that straw to me. It finished the work quickly." And Padmavati said, "I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?" So he went inside. He had a deity of Lord Chaitanya, and he saw Lord Chaitanya. His hands were kind of blackened by the rope, and he had fragments of straw. I thought, "Oh, Lord Chaitanya, you are serving me, helping me fix the roof." So this is another Leela of Krishna and his devotee. So another time, he wanted to make a festival, so he collected funds, but thieves stole the money from him, and they tried to kill him by throwing him in the well. The queen came by and pulled Jayadeva out. And then later on, the thieves came to the king dressed as Vaishnav, and Jayadeva knew that they were the thieves that had robbed him, but he still welcomed them and everything. And later they tried to spread the rumor that Jayadeva had stolen money from another king. And it is explained that this lying Bhudevi couldn't tolerate it, so the earth actually opened up and swallowed these thieves. So be careful. And then that verse is there that I can bear the Himalayas, but I can't bear a liar. But that's so. Oh, and then another time, the sister of the queen, her husband had died. So the queen was very upset because she didn't want the sister to perform sati, mount the funeral pyre. But she asked advice from Padmavati. Padmavati said, "Look, when the husband dies, the life heirs of a woman just disappear. She automatically leaves the body if she is," of course this is very high level. So the queen heard this and she thought, "I'm going to test." So later on, a few weeks later, she called Padmavati and she said, "Jayadeva has left his body. It's very terrible." Immediately, Padmavati fell down, and her body was inert there. The queen thought, "Oh, I've tested her, but this is terrible what I've done." So they called Jayadeva, and the queen said, I was just, I was doing foolish testing." Jayadeva chanted, "Krishna, Krishna, Krishna," into the ear of Padmavati, and Padmavati re-entered her body. So this is the wonderful life of Parama Purusha, Mahabhusha. So eventually he wanted to go to Vrindavan, and a merchant built Jai Radha Madhav temple near Keshi Ghat. You can see to this day. There's one sadhu in there, he has about 500 kilograms. So Yes, eventually there is some discussion about this. He returned to his birthplace in his final days, but then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is of the opinion that actually he went to Puri from Vrindavan eventually and left his body in Puri. And then the king took Radha Madhav, this is Jayadeva's deities, to Gati near, yes, Jaipur. So this is just you can imagine the wonderful spiritual leela of Jayadeva. This is 400-500 years before Lord Chaitanya. So he was creating the literature for Lord Chaitanya to relish. So there's no restraint of material time or place for the great devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thank you all very much for your kind attention. I hope I haven't spoke too fast. There's a lot of subject to go through. But try to get this wonderful book. I'll just show you the beautiful pictures at the beginning so that you can enjoy. This was put together by Prabhupada's godbrother's disciple, Puri Maharaj. And it is very, very wonderful. This is actually painted at the time of Lord Chaitanya, this Kirtan picture. Here it is in expanded form. There is 2 or 3 pictures of Gaunitai created at the time. One was at the tank in Jagannath Puri. And of course, there's a wonderful picture of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta here. I want you to see. Yes, here it is. See this picture. Nishringa Guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, with a beautiful smile. Usually he's looking very chant your rounds. He's looking disturbed, but there's a smile here. And there's Gokishore Das Babaji. So, and look at this picture of, I don't know if you can see, Peerless Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Look at his eyes. Lord Chaitanya came to re-establish Vaishnavism. So did Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He re-established Vaishnavism. He did the same thing. He disappeared on the day of Gadadhar Pandit's disappearance. And of course, Jagannath Das Babaji. So, these are the Vaishnavas, these are the Acharyas. And thank you very much for giving me a chance to give your attention to describe these incredible leelas. By becoming regularly absorbed, it's through the Vaishnavas we attain Krishna. Through the gopis we attain Krishna. So thank you all very much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Sadhu Sangha Vrindavan Dham ki Jai.
Damana Prabhu ki